So hello everyone. Hope you had your morning coffee and you're ready to talk about Webflow. So Philip and I will be talking about like that sweet spot when you are reaching the limits of Webflow and you start introducing custom code to solve your issues. So at the end, we're going to leave some space for question and answer, also to hear your approach, how you are solving challenges you're facing with Webflow limits.
Yeah. So the question is not like how do we use code like whenever we can. It's just how do we still keep the designer usability when like we work with non-technical people. So one thing the client I don't want to say hates to see, but they get like kind of weirded out is when you see the like this script will be shown on the published website. So basically it is just finding that sweet spot between custom code and the like Webflow like no code usability. So the first example we're going to give is, so as it says here, so how do we decide what stays no code, what do we build in code using whatever tool you want to use? So the first example here is, it was a long way back. So the first thing I want to say here is that what everybody needs to do when starting a project is just sync with each other. Either if you're a developer, a designer, or whatever, just go through the style guide, go through the wireframe you're working with, and just chat with designers and see what are their ideas and what they want to what's the general feel they want to have for the website. So here it is like a funny little example of a button with a gradient border. I mean, it sounds really simple. It sounds really, not that hard. You can build it like really easily. But this was like, I want to say like, I think 4 years ago at the start of our journey. Not the background button is not the problem. You can use before or after elements. You can use pseudo elements. I mean, they are pseudo elements. You can use layers and everything. But the issue here was the transparency, because the site had a lot of gradients and whatever. And yeah, it took us a bit to figure out the best way to have it be like a component, to have it to be scalable. Like they can reuse it whatever they want, change the gradient. And that was okay until they said, okay, so the hover state looks like a solid color, and you cannot animate the property you want to put as a border image for the button. So generally, we spent a bit more time just trying to see how it can be animated, and we figured it out. It was not that really hard. It took us some time, but the issue here is when they said, okay, so we want to make checkboxes feel the same way, like work the same way, and radio buttons. And unfortunately, that's not how it's going to work. I mean, we had some issues with that, some kind of limitations, but generally, I think it took us 2 days to just try and figure out how we're going to make it work. I know it sounds really, really, I don't want to say stupid, but to take like 2 days to build something as simple looking as this. But the point of this was when we had the meeting with the client to present what we built, we said, can you give us like a day more to just figure out how we're going to have this animated, look well, checked state, focus state, whatever. And they just said, well, just make it yellow. So, yeah, I mean, the point of this is just don't be afraid to ask the client, like, is this a big deal? Like, it looks cool in the design, but do they really care about that gradient on that border and that hover state? In, I don't want to say like 75% of the times, no, they don't. And it could have saved you it could have saved us, I think, around like a day, 2 days of work and like brainstorming. So yeah, just don't be afraid to ask and communicate with your colleagues, with your clients, and everybody else.
Yeah, that's one way to solve the problem. So the example number 2 is the multi-step forms. So more and more we are facing the multi-step forms, and the forms are a very important part of every website, because this is a way that clients get in touch with you, with your clients, and the clients want to have full control over this. As we all know, Webflow don't have a native way to create a multi-step form. So we had to figure out like a best way how to give them ability to add new fields, do the A/B testing, change labels and stuff, and still have the whole functionality of a multi-step form, validations and stuff. So the best way we figured out is to have a form block at the top, holding the whole tabs, and then inside every tab we have a step form. So this gives the client ability to go through the steps very easily in the settings, and then they can go and like adapt any field they want to do. They want to do A/B testings and stuff like that. So this is one way to do it. How we do it usually combine it with custom code for next and previous buttons, for validations, for emails, for whatever we need. And so for us, this works very well so far. And
Yeah, I just want to jump in here. I mean, honestly, like, I do have like some experience in in Webflow. I've been working for like I think 5 years at Flow Ninja, and just there are always new ways to just figure out how to combine a lot of different native elements to make something work better. Honestly, before like 2 days ago when he showed me this example, I was like, oh, I never thought of it. Like use tabs to make multi-step, which is like pretty simple idea, but like it didn't come to my mind at all. So again, just try to figure out like ways to combine more elements, different native elements, because they do work well to build out more complex functionalities.
yeah, at the end, the goal is to use as least as possible code and try to use the Webflow native functionality so you can preserve that editor usability. So example number 3 is we worked on a map for like with pins, and of course you can use Google Maps or Mapbox API for this. And when we were first starting to do this, we had a lesson to learn. So for one client, we had the latitude and longitude coordinates, but he also wanted the street address, like exact street and the number. So what we used is we used the geocoding tool from Google Maps, and we didn't know this is paid feature. So this is the price we had to pay. So after launching the website, like a month after, we get a panicked email from a client. Hey, we got charged like $800 this month just for a Google service for Google Maps. What's going on? So the first thing was to calm down the client, and we said, okay, don't worry, we're gonna refund you all the money, and then we're gonna fix the problem. So the problem was that like every time somebody comes to the website, we were sending API requests for every coordinate to convert to address. So we had like thousands of requests on every load, and that lead to some extra charges. So at the end, what we did is we converted all those locations up front. We uploaded them to the CMS. So they're just like we did it once. We uploaded to the CMS, and then it's just pulling from the CMS. It was a very simple solution, but we didn't know. So sometimes you have to pay for your lessons or pay for your mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I do is I also had like a lot of experience with Google Maps. I'm gonna show that in the next slide. But like when I try to use again that same feature, it asked me for a credit card, and I was like, this costs money. What am I gonna do? And then I added my credit card and try to like spend as least as possible. So generally, when you try to use like third-party tools which are paid, it's good to like see how your client is gonna like how they're gonna get charged. You need to think about the expenses. Unfortunately, it would be awesome if we didn't have to. But in the next example, I'm gonna as well talk about like the expense of the third-party tools. But yeah, just be careful. See how the pricing of the tool works. If you need it, if you don't, again, yeah, they solved it with a CMS and a couple of fields and a bit of, I think, JavaScript, and that's it. So just try to put yourself in your customer's shoes.
Do that.
And the last example. So this is where I spent my youth on. This page, just this page. So as you can see, this is a Nursa project. And generally they do, I like to say like, I think Nenad from Nursa is going to kill me, but Upwork for nurses. They've build an app to help like hospitals and whatever to find nurses to fill out the shifts that they can find work. So basically, this is, I think, the most complicated page on their website. It is changed now, unfortunately. I mean, fortunately, sorry. Unfortunately for me, because I spent a lot of time in it. Fortunately for Nursa, because they built it in a much better way. So what was the issue here? The issue was they need to find a way to enable the user to find the exact shift they want to fill. So if I'm a, let's say, nurse from Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, I want to be able to find like either my state, so Phoenix or Arizona, then city Phoenix, then find my facility I want to work with, and unfortunately, like those items were all in the CMS, but there are a couple of limitations. So, for example, there are limitations for 100 items per page. I think you are all very familiar with the limitation. So, as you can see here, there are some numbers. So they had 20,000 plus shifts, and they had 40,000 items that you can filter by. So that's states, cities, facilities, I don't know, licenses, specialties, and a lot of different stuff. So yeah, the 100 item limit was not our friend, unfortunately. So let's take, like, first example was if you open the drop down for facilities, we needed to find a way to filter out the facilities. So just type a search box, which sounds like simple feature, but when you have around 20,000 back then, 20,000 facilities, no, it was not. And you're thinking maybe like FinSuite attributes, combo box, it was the feature back then, was the solution. And in 99% of the examples, it is, but this is the 1% where it wasn't, because again, 20,000 items. Same goes for like the load more functionality, because we don't want to showcase all of the 20,000 shifts they have, and we couldn't showcase all the 20,000 shifts they had. So again, you're thinking about, okay, FinSuite load more feature. Again, it wasn't, because again, 20,000 items. And just to go, because I had to like reverse engineer it, how they work is they just see how many pages you have, and they just fetch all the pages, which if you add these two numbers together, that's 60,000 divided by 100, it is around 600 calls per user. Like, that is not smart idea. Even if you don't have caching enabled, the feature they have, like they store all the data, that's 600 requests per user per load. Not a smart idea. Learn that the hard way. So again, we have a lot more functionalities like a map, a custom filter logic. So when you select one state, you need to see the cities from that exact state and nothing else. So we needed to figure out a way to move away from the like limitations of like the CMS native filtering logic. So we built a custom solution which involved like a huge JSON file, a lot of custom code, and I mean a lot of custom code, and it worked until Nursa started growing a lot, and these 60,000 items turned into 100,000 items. And that was not scalable. The files got too big. I mean, at one point, user had to load, I think, around like 10 megabytes of information, which was not a good idea. And yeah, that worked for a while. Then we had to figure out another way. The other way is Algolia, and this is what I said in the last example: is it is expensive. And I mean expensive. If you do not optimize it well, you will have a bad time. One of the optimizations we needed to do was, let's say, debouncing, which is every time a user types, if every letter is a search, and that racks up really fast, and it's really expensive. So debouncing, waiting for the user to stop typing to search. We had to find a way to not send a search request every time they load a page, because they do have a lot of visitors. I don't think I can get into specific numbers, but it is a lot of people, and this is a really high traffic page. So again, it did work. It did do its job. They had analytics and everything, but until a month ago, it just became really expensive, really hard to manage. We had to build Python scripts to keep everything in sync. So what is the current edition of this page? It is custom coded Webflow Cloud app, and it integrates directly with their database. So no need to sync everything, no need to think about it. It just works. It works a lot better than this thing we managed to scrap together. So again, the point of this is everything is constantly evolving. The feature that was working, I think, like 3 years ago couldn't work a year ago. A feature that worked a year ago couldn't work now. So we need to find a way to evolve our tech stack and evolve everything that that we work with. I think a great success was found because they used Claude Code, Cursor, or whatever the choice of the developer, the AI of the developer was. So yeah, this is where I spent my youth on this exact page.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but is this the moment when you broke the Webflow?
I'm not allowed. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. Bad developer practices make for slow websites. It puts heavy strain on the website, on the user's device. So again, just try to follow good practices of development. Not have 600 requests per page, per user, per request.
Yeah, so at the end, like every serious Webflow work requires some custom code. Don't be afraid to use it, especially in the world of AI. Try it, play with it, but like make sure to test, validate ideas, and ask senior people if you don't know. So yeah, the real skill is actually really knowing where one should end and the other solution should begin. So when to start adding the custom code. Again, try to combine multiple components, try to stay within the Webflow editor and usability. And yeah, that's it.
And even if you do write custom code with Claude or ChatGPT or whatever, please just ask it to explain what the code does. Because if you build something and you don't understand how it works, you didn't build it, you just implemented it. So yeah, that's I think one of the main points I wanna end with.
And remove the comments, especially if they're in your native language.
yeah, please.